What's poppin', Who Dat Nation? Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Trace Gerard. Shortly, I will be joined by Abby Alonso. But before we get into today's show, it's the anniversary of Garrett Hartley sending the Saints to their first Super Bowl. So go down, like this video to celebrate the anniversary. I remember I was like 10 years old watching the game at my buddy Jimbo's house. Absolute great time. Was losing my mind as a child when I watched Garrett Hartley nail that and send Brett Favre home. Hey, good stuff. We love to see it. Go down, hit the thumbs up icon, and let's get to 200 likes on this video to celebrate the Saints going to their first Super Bowl 13 years ago today. What's up, Who Dat Nation? Like I said, my name is Trace Gerard. Abby Alonso will be joining me here in a moment, but wanted to give a quick shout out to our comment MVP, Brandon Perry. He commented Who Dat yesterday 34 times. We asked for everybody to go ahead and comment, and we said whoever commented the most is going to get a shout out. So shout out to you, Brandon Perry. Thank you for commenting on yesterday's video. And without further ado, I'm going to send it over to Abby Alonso to break down the latest on Sean Payton.
Yeah, those Sean Payton rumors are heating up. There are 4 teams we know of that have been in talks with him about possibly becoming their new head coach: the Cardinals, Texans, Broncos, and Panthers. And we're going to remind you of what the Saints would get out of that trade if they were to make it happen. The Cardinals have the number 3 overall pick, but it's more than likely they move to day 2 picks in that trade. The Texans have the number 2 and number 12 pick. Again, more than likely they would give the number 12 trade. And the Broncos have the late round pick from the 49ers. So that's looking to be about 28 to 31, I believe right now.
That, yep.
And then the Panthers would possibly trade up the number 9 overall pick, and they have 2 second and 2 fourth round picks. So those 4 are in talks with Sean Payton right now, and we do have some updates on that process, those interview processes with those teams. According to Jeff Duncan, he said that Sean Payton completed his interview with the Panthers on Monday afternoon. He'll interview with the Cardinals on Thursday, and his interview with the Broncos that was supposed to happen earlier this week has now been delayed. And he brings up a good point here, saying the longer that this process takes, the more likely that Sean Payton just stays at Fox, which wouldn't be good for anybody in this trade at all. And then we hear from Diana Rossini, some interesting news here, that apparently there's a team waiting in the wings for all of this to kind of go down before they make a move, hopefully to get their ducks in a row and then kind of slide in. Who knows who the team is, if there even is a team? Is it just a leverage move? Is it the Colts? Is it the Cowboys? We don't know. Either way, this has got to speed up. This process has got to speed up. This has been going on for weeks. Everybody's kind of just itching to hear what happens, and I think Sean Payton might be liking it. I think he's liking all the talk that's going on. He's kind of got his choice right now.
Yeah, and I think that it's one of those interesting things that, Sean Payton really does have the options of going to Fox, just straight up saying, nah, I'm just straight up done. I'm not ever going to do anything around football ever again. But then he also has the ability to sit out, go get traded next year. The value could be a lot lower. I don't know why it necessarily would be lower. Nick Underhill earlier brought up a point about it really doesn't make sense why it would be lower. He's still a quality coach, and yeah, he's just an extra year removed, which it's an argument to make. But that being said, I think that Sean Payton, it's either going to be he's getting traded or he's staying at Fox this offseason. And it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous about all of it. I'm curious as to what the Who Dat Nation has to say about it. What do you guys think? How likely is it that Sean Payton just stays at Fox and doesn't get traded at all? Scale it from 1 to 100 right now. You're going to get hit with the YouTube ad break. So while that happens, take advantage and go and take advantage of the ad break and let us know in the comment section. Scale 1 to 100. How likely is it that Sean Payton stays at Fox? All right, next thing's next. We're going to talk some running back targets because the Saints need running back help desperately. Behind Alvin Kamara, you really don't have a ton of depth. You have Eno Benjamin, who you signed late. You have Mark Ingram, who's going to be a free agent. He's older. He's not producing the same quality reps and the same quality carries that he used to. You also have David Johnson, who is just old. So I threw together a list of 5 running back targets the Saints could go after this offseason. First, Saquon Barkley from the New York Giants. You can go get him in free agency. There's some chatter that maybe the Giants and Saquon can't get a deal together. I don't know. Maybe it could happen. Maybe it couldn't. What I am kind of nervous on is paying a running back a ton of money because you do need to fulfill needs at other positions. But Saquon would be my number one to go for. Miles Sanders, another good one. I really like him with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's coming off a career season, 11 touchdowns on the year. He knows how to score. He knows how to be productive with the ball in his hands. And I would love to see the Saints go and get a veteran like Miles Sanders or even Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs is another guy that would be really interesting for the Saints to go sign. I think that realistically, the Raiders are probably going to franchise tag him, but that doesn't mean that you can't tag and trade him, or maybe they just don't franchise tag him at all. I don't really know what to make of this. He's kind of in a mindset at this point where he's like, whatever is the best situation for me. He tweeted that out earlier. He said, I just want the best situation for me. So Josh Jacobs, could the black and gold instead of the black and silver be what's best for you? I don't know. We'll see this offseason. Tyjae Spears. Now, this is a fun one. This is one that I'm really excited about because the product out of Tulane, I mean, he was kind of all over the place. He was kind of off the map. And then you see what he did in the Cotton Bowl, which we'll break down here momentarily. I mean, it was just unbelievable. The kid is freaking great. He's a Louisiana product. Keep the home kid at home. I think it would be a lot of fun to go get Tyjae Spears. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, another quality running back out of Alabama. You'd be able to go draft him. Maybe get him in the second, maybe the third. Some of the thing about drafting a running back is you do still need a quarterback. So it's like, do you go get a quarterback, running back? There's a whole lot of gymnastics that has to go down in order for it to work. But if you want to just take a quick look at the yards and the production for all of these guys, Saquon, 295 carries, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. Miles Sanders, 259 carries, 1,200 yards, and 11 touchdowns. And then Josh Jacobs, 340 carries for 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns. Tyjae Spears, 229 carries for 1,500 yards, 19 touchdowns. That's not a typo. That's legit. I mean, that would be insane. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, 151 carries, 926 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And I will say this, as I said earlier, getting Saquon Barkley would be nuts. But that being said, I love Tyjae Spears. And I just want to look at these stats. Abby, look at these stats from the Cotton Bowl against USC. And USC isn't a terrible team. They're obviously fraudulent, but they're not a terrible team. 17 carries for over 200 yards, and not a typo. 4 touchdowns, 12 yards per carry. That is unbelievable. I am so impressed with what this kid's been able to do. And Abby, I would love to hear what you have to say about, Tyjae Sharp or any of these other running back targets.
I think that production in itself, it speaks for itself. I would love to have a New Orleans boy stay in New Orleans for the Saints. It's a need, but I have to ask you, is it the biggest need for this team? It's not. We know what the biggest needs are right now. That comes with the D-line, the O-line, the quarterback, but running back depth is important. If we can make it happen, absolutely bring him in. I'd love to have him on this team. I just don't know that we could make that happen. But we want to know what you guys think, so go down to the comment section and name a running back you want the Saints to add. And next, we got to talk about it. Saints losing a defensive coordinator? Is it happening? It might be. It might be. Ryan Nielsen interviewed with the Vikings on Monday afternoon. The Falcons also requested to interview him. We're not quite sure whether that was granted or not by the Saints, whether they have permission to interview him. But right now, he does not call the plays for the defense for the Saints. If he were to go to Minnesota, he would be. So it's technically a promotion. And to give you some backstory on Nielsen, he arrived with the Saints right before the 2017 season as a D-line coach. Since then, only the Steelers have more sacks than the Saints. They've got 313. The Saints have 281. The Saints have recorded 45 at least in the past 4 seasons. He passed up the defensive coordinator job at LSU 2 years ago to stay with the Saints. And when Dennis Allen became the head coach, he became the co-defensive coordinator. Are we going to see him stay? I don't know. I don't know that you pass up a job promotion to the Vikings, who clearly struggled on defense this season. He's got this opportunity that not only would he be in charge of the defense, he's doing the play calling, which he's not getting here. So he's been around for a while. He's done a great job with Dennis Allen, but is it time for him to go? It could be. It could be.
Yeah, and I think this is just what happens whenever you have a quality staff. Whenever you have guys that can, make good plays. You said it. I mean, leading the NFL in sacks outside of the Steelers is unbelievable. Despite the Saints having a terrible season, the defense still looked good. And this is just what happens when you have a good staff. Quality play callers, quality coaches. They get poached, they get picked up, they get signed, they get hired, they get promoted. It just happens in football, and honestly, it's one of those things you really can't knock it too much. You got to appreciate, the fact that Ryan Nielsen has done great things. Chris Richard, the co-defensive coordinator, he does a pretty solid job. I think that you could really rely on Ryan Nielsen, though, to be a quality defensive coordinator for the Saints. Same with the Vikings, which I wouldn't be surprised if they went and poached Ryan Nielsen. He's a damn good coach. He's experienced. He's tenured. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to work with all sorts of talent, young, old, experienced, good, bad, ugly. He knows what he's doing, and it's just kind of one of those interesting things. I'm really excited for Ryan Nielsen. I think it's one of those really awesome opportunities for him. But do you think that Ryan Nielsen will stay in New Orleans? Type S for stay, type L for leave. If you want to hit up me or Abby, feel free to hit us up on social media. Abby, do you want to tell them where they can find you? I'll pop up your social media right here for you as well.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Abigail Alonso, 2 B's, and on Twitter for the same username, but drop an underscore in between Abigail Alonso. Yeah. Abigail_Alonso.
My bad. I did not mean to cut you off. My bad. But you can also hit me up on Instagram at TraceGerard48. It's going to be the same on Twitter. Feel free to hit us both up. Chop it up about the Saints. We love the Who Dat Nation. We bleed black and gold. And hey, I hope you all do the same. Stay golden, Who Dat Nation. We'll catch you next time.